Okay, wait. Okay. See, it's a good thing you have a great sense of humor. And oh yeah, we were. It was one day. I really am, and they know I can't touch the buttons on the computer. They know I can send it all cattywampus, and I'm like, okay, I can't wear a watch. Uh, it won't keep time on me. Watches don't keep time on me. Computers, I can shut them down. And my thing was, how come I can't have to go to the ATM machine, and just touch it or rub on or whatever happens when it go out and it just spit the money out to me? Why I got to have this crazy one? Hey everybody, it's the even more fabulous Mother Love. This is my friend Alton Garrett Jr. He's having this big soiree in North Las Vegas called the Funk Explosion, and it's gonna be awesome. It's we on countdown now. It's April 2nd. It's gonna be April 13th. So, and see, I just want you to know I'm excited about this, and I'm coming to this event. And she didn't tell me till like a week and a half ago. So well, moving on. We've been doing this for quite some time. Hey, Alton Greer.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm doing family. And sometimes you can just tell when it's gonna be silly and crazy, and you'll have fun. That's what it is. That's what we do. And you can fold your arms all you want to, try to hold it in, hold it. See, you have a vein coming out your neck. That's way down on the turtleneck, y'all. Because when the vein pop up, he gonna say, No, you didn't see it. I see almost okay. I don't see everything. I see everything else, and I see the funk explosion being just off the chain. Talk to us about where the idea came from, and what was the process from you coming from, this idea to getting it to fruition? Well, just about at fruition.
Well, about 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, Sam Quinn, who is my business partner, he and I have been doing events, in California. We've done a lot of reggae festivals and some jazz festivals, and then we've done a lot of events for people. We have worked on some concerts for people and put on some fundraisers for people and everything. And someone told us about this great place in North Las Vegas called the Amp. Mm-hmm. We knew absolutely nothing about it. So, we live down in California, which is about a 3-4 hour drive from Vegas, but everybody drives that route frequently.
And since they put in the new road,
right,
cut down a lot of time too, and the traffic is still just as heavy.
Yeah, it's just as heavy, depending on when you go and come back. So we decided to come up to Vegas and check it out. So we got there and we saw the Amp, and we liked the Amp. We liked the layout of it and everything. So we hung around and spoke to the management of the Amp, and at that time was a lady named Tracy Farage, who belonged and worked for the city of North Las Vegas. And the more we talked to her and the more we saw and everything, we just decided that we were going to do something there. And we, on our way home back to California, we were talking about what's this going to be. And I said, we should do something like a funk explosion. That's where it came from. That's where it got its name.
How it comes like from the universe, and you didn't even have to think about it. And as soon as you said it, you knew that was it.
Right, that was it. It came from there, and so we started planning it. We did our first one in 2022, our inaugural event in 2022, and our first annual last year, and our second annual this year. But when we initially started discussing it amongst ourselves, the one thing that we wanted to do was to do it for 5 years. Mm-hmm. We wanted to lay the groundwork for 5 years to see where it was going to go and all, and so that we just didn't want it to be a one-hit wonder. So we did it for that. So we're in our third year. This is our third year of doing the show, and we're looking forward to it. We have some outstanding acts this year, and we're just looking forward to everything being great as always, and looking forward to seeing you there also. So, we want to make sure that everything.
I get to come out. Oh my goodness, I get to come out.
Everything is all well and good, and also we're just looking forward to it. And it's been a great run, and we really love what we do.
So when you talk about the different festivals, because each promoter, each entity wants to have it their way and what they need to do, and so how long does it take for you to put on one of these, and especially when you're dealing with new groups, new the ladies you were talking about, what did you say their name is, the Sophisticates?
We have the SOS Band
Oh.
and Loose Ends featuring Jane Eugene, and then we have Jimmy Sterling Experience, which is a tribute to Bobby Womack. Those are our acts, you know.
So when you get there, how far out do you need to start with this planning?
Well, no event should be planned unless you got at least 90 days. You know, at least 90 days. I mean, you can plan it. We start planning okay, let's put it this way. Next year, we already have our date booked. Our date next year is April the 15th, 2025. But we already have that date booked. We booked that date last year when we booked this date, and we set the date up because our goal was, as I said, was to do 5 years. We actually started planning a year ago. We tried to get everything done. We try to get the bands and everything. Raoof, welcome. How are you?
Hey, fine. How you doing?
Hey, Raoof, we've been waiting on you, dog. I'm glad you came.
You have to work with me a little bit. I'm slow.
Oh, wait a minute. It's only a little bit. I could work you. Why can't I work my magic on all of you? Why can't I do it for
you're doing it now? That's why I come in. It's your time.
No, this is your time. It is time to tell us about how you got involved in this, because I mean, for those of you who have been under a rock someplace, this is the legendary Abdul Ra'oof from the SOS Band, that you keep going strong and keep the music coming. Because when you think about it, you know, we are from a generation of great music. I mean, you think about from the beginning in the 20s and the 30s, and I say that because there were 6 of us with our mom and dad. It was 8. We didn't know what we were going to wake up to on Saturday morning. It could have been the SOS Band. It could have been Jane Eugene. It could have been Fats Waller. It could have been, you know, Whitney Marsalis or Quincy Jones. So she taught us to appreciate our music. And if you say you don't like something, listen to it for a while and it might come to you. I would have never thought I would have liked opera. I don't know what they're saying, but I know how they sound and how they make me feel. And I just have a good time. So talk to this Raoof.
Yeah, so come on, mama love.
You're spoiling me, Alton. You really are spoiling me. You know, and I said to him earlier, I am just fascinated with all the things that he does and continues to do, that he got time to come and talk with Mother Love.
I'm just happy to be here. You know,
I'm glad that you were here. So, Raoof, tell people how you got involved in the industry. Where you from? You got people?
Yeah. Well, you know, I kind of started in what we used to call junior high. They call it
middle school.
Yeah. So I joined. I became. I was always attracted to music, even when I was young, listening, singing. I used to I wanted to be a drummer, so I took up all my mother's furniture because I was tones, I'm very good at tones, and I would beat on it was a sound. It was a sound. Some things had a different sound, and I would watch the band perform, and I would try to duplicate those sounds when I seen the marching band or something like that, and boxing. And I was always beating because my heart was a drummer. So summer band one summer, and they started me to playing. I went to see the band directors. Band directors have this thing that when you come in to choose an instrument, they tell you what they need. I went in. I wanted to be a drummer. He said, "Oh, Sonny, you got too many drummers. Get your trombone, get something." So I chose, making a long story short, I chose trumpet. But that wasn't my heart, because I stayed in the drum section. I knew all the drum beats. I knew all the cadence. So I stayed. So eventually, when I went to school, I grew into trumpet. But I started in bands since I was 14, like a local band that started in middle school, and it went on to high school. We stayed together, and this group stayed together pretty much about 10 years. Eventually moved to Atlanta. We moved after we had been in Albany, because I'm from Albany, Georgia. So Albany at that time, Albany was like, during that time, it was like a real strong B market because of the military bases that was there. They had an Air Force base. I used to wake up and see planes flying all like flying. We did autographs in the sky. Infantry had infantry base, a Marine base. So the town was full. It was like a 24-hour town, you know, because guys would come in from the service, and it was just a 24-hour time. It was just a little hip little town, and music was there all the time. It's quite different now because those facilities are not there now for us, the services. But I come up during that time, listen to a lot of music, and just been in bands most of the time. And we was a very good band, very good band. The original band was a Velvetone band. I remember I was first time I was at this junior high school, I was at this sock hop. And these guys came.
Did you just go to the sock hop? You just dated all of us. You just dated all of us. We went to the sock hop. I know and if I could throw my leg up on this, you could see my Bobby socks I got on right now.
They didn't want you to scratch up the gym floor. You know what I
mean? Right.
So they had a sock, but they had this. Well, no, that wasn't sock. It was a talent show. So it was this group up there, and it was called the Velvetones. But they sang, they had this guy that sounded like it was doing all of Smokey Robinson and the Miracles, Ooh Baby Baby, After Laughter and all that stuff. This guy sounded just like Smokey. And so that kind of got me into the music, but eventually it was a stand-up group that the band started performing behind, and the stand-up group broke up. And my friend who influenced me to be in the band, his name is Gino. He's passed now, Gino. They took the name. Gino, went for Gino. I don't know where I would be. He was a business guy, and we was in it just to get the girls.
We're gonna keep it real.
Yeah, but he was there, I said, yeah, Gino, but I was a very close friend. So that is kind of started from years and years. And I went to college, and we stayed in the music, and from that point, we moved to Atlanta. And I moved to Atlanta. I was the band changed its name, but we was a very popular band in Atlanta. During that time, there was a lot of venues that you can play. So you had to perform that groups would play. It went, this main street called Campbellton Road had clubs all up and down of it. Mr. V's would eventually come to that area, which was a well-known disco spot that was known all over the country. But we performed like that in those towns, and we was traveling in Alabama somewhere, and I got approached by the Commodores. And the Commodores, I was on the band. They came to me, they called me in the back. They said, well, we want you to be in the band. So really, I was young, I said, well, so I took it for what it was worth. I said, okay. Because the Commodores, the thing about the Commodores were at Tuskegee, and the Velvetone band was at Albany State. So we always thought we were just as good. We didn't have writers. We didn't have writers, moving forward, But we was a very good band. So I said, Commodores, all right, I know the Commodores. But there was touring that time. There was the open-up band for the Jackson 5. It was for the open-up band was Jackson 5. Yes, during that time. And I eventually told them no. It was a hard decision.
Did you break up? Did you break up the group that you were with?
No, I was there because I was still close to that group. I didn't want to leave these guys, and I didn't know. In fact, they didn't know I had been approached by them. I never did tell anyone. Because I was trying to make the decision where I was going to go with the Commodores or stay with this group, which is a very popular group. We had a little single out that didn't hit, Commodores. So I was wrestling with that. I'd been knowing these guys all my life, and I was a leader of the band at that time. And I couldn't really bring myself to it. So I eventually called Clyde, and someone told me I couldn't be in it. And I was riding, I had a brand new Cutlass. I was riding down the road one day, and this music was playing. It was instrumental playing. And I had a brand new 73 Cutlass, right? Sports. And after the end, they say, oh, this is a new sound of the Commodore. I like to roll off the road.
In your new car.
Yeah. I drove home in a haste, and I called Clyde, and Clyde's mother picked up. She said, hello. I said, is Clyde there? She said, no. Clyde there in California, finishing the album. I said, tell him that Raoof called him, please. Well, it was too late. It was too late for that. But I went through all these blue lights in the basement, and they had all these hits coming out, and I would be at these parties, and then we'd be playing all these Commodore songs, and I would be in here with friends. And I said, no one even knew I was in the band. It was something I went through because it had hit after hit after hit. I said, wow, I missed it. So what came back around when I was still being a musician in Atlanta, and I was at this club, a very popular club that was popular for live entertainment called the San Souci's. San Souci's was this spot where all the hot groups would go, you know, and they had this area where musicians would stand in the back, and they would be there just really, you know, critiquing everybody. And he had just a line of guys on the wall. They would be all musicians on the wall, you know, studying and critiquing bands that come in. It was a hot spot for live entertainment. So one night I was sitting there, I had stopped playing, and I was sitting next to this guy watching these groups, and they say, well, here's a sax player I know. His name is Ginyard, I think. He said, well, what you doing in here? I say, well, you know, that's what we do. I'm checking out the groups. I just wanted to come out and hang out for a minute and see who's hidden, see who's not. Because they're not hidden, they cut them up. The musicians will cut them up.
This is before the Apollo.
Yeah, they be cutting them up, you know.
Oh.
So I said, he said, you know, Jason, Raoof, SOS Band looking for you. I said, what? SOS Band. He said, yeah, they looking for you. I said, what? Okay, Jason, Billy. I said, okay. And that time, I really wasn't listening to the radio a lot because I had stopped playing, and I was selling cars. And so one car, it was like doing
a big gap in
no car. It was like during the time when inflation was out, but I was getting commission, right? So I went to see Billy, and Billy saw him, and he played the song for me, and he played 2 songs, and he played by me being a musician first. I sing, but I always say that I'm a musician first. And he played the song SOS. And when he finished playing the song SOS, I say, whoever played that song, I want to be in that band. So I joined the band, and we from that point, I became a side guy. So I was in there about a year, and then they brought me all the way into the band after the tour of our first tour, which went out with, still right now today is the biggest tour that the SOS Band have been on. It's the Isley Brothers tour.
Oh,
Isley Brothers was living.
Everybody talk about I love it.
That was huge. Isley Brothers, and all of them was living. And after that, the SOS Band toured with, believe it or not, the Commodores.
See,
the Commodore, and then Lionel was still in the band.
See,
but it was crazy. So I met I saw Clyde. I said, well, you know, and I expressed to him the hard time I'd had after telling them no, and what I went through, just listening to the music, knowing I had made a choice that I could have made another way. But he said, well, you made it. You made it. So what the whole key was, when the SOS Band asked for me, I told my wife, I said, hey, I missed it one time. But I'm going this time. They say they can't even pay me yet.
But you're going anyway.
They say they can't really even pay me yet, but the band leader said, Raoof, if I was you, I would go, because it was going on a promotional tour. Raoof, I would come. I would come if I was you. So I told my wife, I said, I'm going. I said, this time I'm going this time. So from that point, you know, we became the SOS Band with Take Your Time, one of the biggest hits that we ever had, still today.
Listen, it was
Right.
babies made off of y'all music, and they would
Yeah.
all get to the line and say, "Baby, take your time, do it right. You could do it all night." You know, and see, we believed you. We believed everything the band said. We believed it, everything. And you could see people over in the corner. You talk about the blue light special. Oh yeah, and then everybody come in and slow dance off. Take your time. I'm like, that's a hand dancing record. Y'all do know that, right? And they're like, yeah, we're gonna go take our time. Oh yeah. Oh wait. When Alton was telling me about the lineup, I was like, wow. And then you not just the lineup, but the history behind the music. And you know, and we want to keep that going. I mean, because our rhythm and blues, a lot of people, the kids don't even know what R&B stand for. You ask them, what R&B stand for? Richard and Bobby, right? R&B? No. It just no, it doesn't stand for
Sorry
that.
about that. That's an age.
And how important is it for you as a musician, as a creator, and traveling? How important is it for you to keep that sound fresh? And the fact that it sounds like if you played it on the record right now today, it's gonna sound as good as it did when y'all first put it out. How is that, help you as you grow and continue to keep the music going and continue to keep the legacy going? Why is that important to you? And to the generations behind you. Okay, you the one doing it. I'm talking about the one that, these ones back here that want to jock everything.
Yeah, well, coming up, I was a James Brown fan, and we always gave the respect to the music. We play it just like the music because fans want to hear it sound like the music. You can have little intricate things you can do in there, within the arrangement that you can do that's interesting for the musicians.
Mm-hmm.
You have to feed the musician as well, but the fans are first. So we always play the music. So it's just like when we have people come in the band, play the music, play the song. I don't need you to create nothing else. I don't need you to rewrite
it. just do this.
These people know their song. They know the song better than you know the song. So give the music respect and play the song as it is. That's all you have to do. I'll give you a solo somewhere if you need one.
If you need one, we're still
but for when you start playing this music, be honest and be true to the music, because this is what the music is all about. And you play it and you play it every night the same way, and you love playing it that way. So it's just part of just who, especially like guys my age that come up playing like that. That's who we are. Being that we had these avenues that we could hone our craft. Like these local plays that you had live band, we played all the time. So we had those. Right now you can't find places to play unless you're doing like a bar, a trio somewhere, or unless you're doing a corporate group or something like that. But
this is why this is important. I'm sorry to step on you, but this is why it is important to have people like Alton, Garrett, and his friend Sam Quinn, and all the people that work behind the scenes to get the music out there, because it's just as important to you as a promoter. Am I correct in that? To keep it like that. Alton,
sure. Yeah, we all have a role. We can't do it without Alton. We can't do it without you. We can't do it without people keeping us in place, keeping our name and feeding us like that, and letting them know that we appreciate them. Because what we do, we see people every night that love us that we may not ever meet. Now that's powerful.
Extremely. And to
you not ever meet these people,
music,
but
and you never know what
you give them.
You never know what they're going through. And that's why I appreciate when you said we're going to play it just like it sounds, play it just like it is, play it like that's the first time you ever played it before, and because you don't know. And being a live performer, I really, really was a lot discouraged, because I was like, okay, well, where the SOS Band at? Where Lionel Richie? Where the Commodores? Is it any of the Temptations still living? Is somebody going to do a tribute to them? Like Bobby Womack is getting a tribute, and I pay a tribute to Bobby Womack.
Oof.
See, I get goosebumps. I literally get goosebumps. So Alton, as a business person, and as a person who loves music, like he says, Raoof says the music comes first. What comes first for you, Alton?
Well, Well, when we started looking at our next show, we started looking at who we're going to put on the show, and we try to make sure that we marry up everybody who's on the show so that we're not stepping on stuff. We want to make sure that now. I said I wasn't going to do this, but I am.
Tell me that every time. You tell me that every time.
I heard the SOS Band for the first time in about 1984, when I heard the SOS Band. And I heard the SOS Band in Korea.
See? So how about that? Bet you didn't know that.
You're right, Raoof. You're absolutely right. In Seoul, Korea. Because my family and I were stationed at Yongsan.
Oh, Yongsan.
And you guys came and played for the military at Yongsan. And matter of fact, I was talking to my business partner Sam this morning, and he asked me if I was going to do it, and I said, "Well, I don't think so, but now I think I am."
So why you?
I don't know if this will show up.
Wait, okay, lean into that's James Brown. Lean back.
That's one of the original founders of the band, Jason.
Right there. That is a picture that I took in 1985 in Korea with you guys.
Yeah, there we go.
When you guys performed over there.
Okay, roll it up. Hold it up, some. Alton. There you go.
Yeah, I remember them spandex suits too. What was
that is so cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Wasn't that like the militarized zone? So when that location?
It was located in Seoul, Korea.
I know it, but what was the location we played? Do you remember the name of it?
It was the South Post. In Seoul, Korea, we put a stage up in the South Post. They called it South Post. And you guys came and played over there. My daughter, who was like 6 or 7 or 8 years old at that time, and my son had an absolute ball.
Didn't they have spiders around the top or something like that?
Oh yeah. We took care of you, made sure that nothing happened to you.
They say they gave us some other. Don't go to the bus. Don't do this. Don't do that.
Right.
We knew that was a very serious area that we was in.
Absolutely. Well, my family and I did a couple of years over there, and you guys came over and did that, and I was going through some old pictures, some time ago, and I found these pictures, and I was like, wow, I'm gonna bring these up when I come up next week, so you guys can get a good look at them.
Please do. Those times right now, those are some of the most profound moments of the career for me. Because we did a lot of performing, and we toured all throughout Europe in the military. We toured throughout Asia in the military. And right now, someone may walk up to me and say, well, I was in Stuttgart. I was in here. I was in Bumholder. I remember y'all playing. And during that time, they didn't have the communication. They didn't have, even, I think, the second time we went there, it was the Super Channel. But one time, they used to call it Back in the World because you was totally disconnected. So when we came, the love that you guys always gave us was just overwhelming because you appreciated someone coming from the States to spend time. And that was the best time of my life, performing for those service guys. And every place that we went, they took care of us too.
Well, we had an absolute ball with you guys there. I mean, it was a Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon, and it was an all afternoon affair. I mean, you guys sang and you performed, and and you mingled with the audience, and you let the little kids, hang out with you and everything and all. It was just something. My daughter and my son both, they talk about it now, because they remember those times that when we were over there and all, so.
I got this is a question for both of you, and from then and until the future. I mean, and what's going on now with the artists traveling all around the world, and they have these, big, huge events. Why do you think that Europeans, non-Americans, treat musicians that come from America over there better? Because I hear stories about, how they always look out for the audiences wherever you go. You didn't hear a lot of conflict about, this band member doing this, that, and the third, and it was always cohesive. But then, when you look at how they treat our musicians here in America, and when they go abroad, they're treated better. Where's the disconnect in that?
Well, from a
Well,
promoter's standpoint of view, I don't. I'm a different promoter, I guess, because I would treat all of my artists that are performing on an event for me, regardless of where I am, I would treat them the same. But the general public is what I think that you're talking about.
yes,
The
yes.
general public in America has a tendency to not treat the artists and performers as well as the general public in other countries. Okay. Now I lived in Europe. I've lived all over because I did 27 years in the military. So I have a couple of days around the world a little bit here, And I used to watch the artists when they came to Germany, and this was way before you, Raoul, this was way back in the Platter days, what I'm saying, and all, and they would come to Europe and all, and they would be treated like kings and queens, and everything. But when they come back to the States, it's like, well, that's a dressing room down the hall. Go get it if you can find it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? It's just the attitude of people in overseas countries that treasure we take for granted the music in the States more than they take for granted the music in foreign countries. The music in foreign countries is great for them. It's something that they want and they desire, so they're going to treat the people the way that they feel that they should be treated. While in the States,
not so much.
Not so much, because so many times the audiences in the States thinks because they paid $69.95 for a ticket that they can say or do whatever they want to do to the artist. You see what I'm saying? You didn't buy the artist. You only bought a ticket to come to see the show. So that's what the people in the States needs to realize.
So what's your take on it, Raoul?
Well, and part of what I can understand what Alton is saying. Being that the culture is so used to, we're part of this community, we're part of this country. So it's easy for how we view things that's totally different from people in Europe that don't see it all the time, or people in Japan that don't see it all the time. In most cases, they have to read about it and they get it secondhand, for exception to now. You get everything where you want anywhere in the world. It's a totally different thing. But that goes back even as far as like when you think about the jazz cats, like Miles and Coltrane, when they went through, some of them didn't come back.
Right.
They didn't come back here.
When Tina Turner left, and she left America, and God rest her soul, when she left America and she said, "I'm never coming back," she never came back.
Yeah, that's from the industry too. Because I'm gonna tell you what happened to us in the '90s when we went through a thing in the '90s, and when the industry kind of dropped all groups like us, like called self-contained groups. Self-contained groups are basically like Earth, Wind and Fire, the Audio Players, Kool and the Gang. Self-contained meaning you have everything within that group to do live recording and to perform live and do recordings. It contains everything within the group. And when they stopped signing groups like us, and radio changed, so it's quite a few things that's going on there. Yeah, even through the industry, even through the way radio works with especially black radio, where it works in relation to other artists. We didn't have radio, but we went to Europe. We toured in Europe, and Europe always kept the music alive. So when we change and we get so much here, it's always a new thing where they kind of hold on to what they're going on. Like we're going to London, but it's always an experience because of how they view music, and they hold on really to live entertainment. Whereas industry-wise, between what the industry does, because that's a lot of influence too.
Yeah.
Industry influence, where I come up myself, being in bands, high school bands, when the funding was taken out of the schools, then the numbers in the band, the marching numbers in the band, which that's part of that environment you have to hone your craft. See what I'm saying? So when you take that away, where I came up, it was just bands, and
right.
music. We
And
even had
they kept you busy because
busy. It
they
kept
could
me
keep you out of
you know,
trouble
and you
because
had
it was in a controlled environment. And when they
exactly,
took the arts out of the schools and they
exactly.
started stifling these creative young people, they started graffitiing buildings, and some of the work is absolutely stunning. It is
Yes,
beautiful.
it is.
But they
It
don't
is.
feel they have a place to go. And
Yeah.
how can they get this energy out of them and this creativity? And I think it's done not just the United States, but the world a disservice. Because when we look at I'm looking at the history of it, and you talk about these great bands that are still great today. The kids behind us, how is their legacy going to stand up? And do you believe it still will stand up like this? Like you guys are legends, that they will be able to stand the test of time.
Well, you want to figure that out?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think that we will have future. I'm going to say we're here 2024.
Mm-hmm.
I do not think that, and I hope I'm wrong, but I do not believe that you can name 5 bands right now today, 5 groups right now today that will be still going in 2034, as the way SOS Band has been going really, since they got started way back in the 70s and 80s and everything. I mean, you can say SOS Band, when people ask me who's on your show, I always start out with the headliner is SOS Band, and the eyes open up, and we know when I say loose ends with Jane Eugene, the eyes stay open. when I say, and we always do a tribute. We always do a tribute to one of our fallen heroes and everything. And this year we're doing the tribute to Bobby Womack. And we found this guy, Jimmy Sterling. He's with the Jimmy Sterling Experience, and he does Bobby. And when I say he does Bobby, he does Bobby. He crosses 110th Street in a hurry. You know what I'm saying? But he does it just the way Bobby crossed the 110th Street.
Yeah.
And if you think you're lonely now,
wait until
just wait until tonight. You know what I'm saying? So, but I don't think that you're going to find 10 years from now some of these artists that are playing and are making big money. Don't get me wrong, they're making big money. They're playing now, but I don't think that they will be around 2034, 2044, the way SOS Band is, the way Jane Eugene SOS Band, we're looking at 40 years. We're looking at tried and true musicians, not central packs that's coming out of the studio. You know what I mean? But we're talking about musicians who not only play their songs, but they sing the songs. You know what I'm saying? And it's a real band. I mean, so they're singing and playing with and for and in front of a real band, and that's where the real music comes in. Is when they're playing, for the audience. And just like Raoof said earlier, he made the point that when he was talking to people who come to play with the band, I don't want you to try to add no new riff in here because we got the same riff that we got. If you need a solo, I'll give you a solo later on. But don't mess with this song because this song has been tried and true for the last 20 years. So we don't need to come in here think that you can put this little extra thing, in there and make it better. Okay, just play the song the way. And just like you said, Raoof, 90% of the people in the audience know the song better than the people on the stage.
And then we have to work at your concert. Come on, baby, sing it with me. Come on. You gonna hear the wait until tonight.
And if you're up on stage telling them to sing along and you're adding something in that they don't know about, they don't look at you like you're crazy.
We are done. When they first started synthesizing concerts and they were allowing a track to play over, while they're singing and they're lip syncing. And I could tell. I'm a purist when it comes to music. I mean, I want to see a live band playing the piano, playing the drums, playing the trumpet, playing the clarinet. Dude, they got the jazz violin. We appreciate that. And like I said, listen, I know I'm a seasoned citizen, and I know I have a lot to do, and your music has kept us going and kept us alive and kept us. Well, y'all have breakup songs, and we be laying on the floor in the feet of it's not coming out your nose and your eyes, you know, and then your face too puffy if you think they're coming in, you know, and people in this business. And it's a business, and people that are not in this business will never understand it, not completely. It's like the military. You know, they can take nothing away from your 27 years as a military veteran, and I thank you for your service and all the men and women. Yes. And the fact that you would go overseas to play for the military. You know, I used to Bob Hope and say, I want to go. And that's before they had Negroes going on the USO tours and what have you, unless you had like a big name like Louis Armstrong. And the fact that you are willing to give your time and your effort to go and it's not, you know, it is performing. It's a performance, and that's what we want to see. I want to see the live moves. I want to see. Oh, and I met James Brown, and I didn't know what he was saying. I told him I was in love with him. He said, "My love." And I was like, I know what that means, you know. I mean, nobody could do that. That was James Brown. He was.
He's the greatest. He's the greatest.
I mean, we didn't even bother to go get our hair done when James Brown. When we going to a James Brown fan. No. What's the point of going and get your hair done when you're gonna sweat it out anyway? Because you're not gonna sit still at a James Brown concert. No, you are not gonna sit still when the SOS Band is playing. No, you do what I do. Get you some hair and just get you some portable hair, because there ain't no way in the world. And I used to tell the, I'm like, why y'all going to get your hair done? Oh, because we going to the James Brown concert. Oh, we going to see that SOS Band. And they would be singing your song. Your hair sweating out already. Your kitchen is already back. They don't even know. I stopped that a long time ago. And when I saw that they were not actually performing live, you know, and you can tell the difference. You know, it's like you said, Alton, they'll come in with that note wasn't in there. Wait, hold up, and they'll stop the whole show. Okay, maybe that was them having a flashback. And there's nothing like a live performance. And I love being entertained, and I want to be entertained by the best. I just don't get. You know, you got this one little teeny tiny artist. She about big as a water bottle, and she got 800 people behind her for a song. You mean to tell me you need 800 people, you know, trancing around here? See, you good when you come on in the purest form with the real instruments. You know what it is, and people don't even understand it. I used to be able to read. Once you learn to read music, you can read it all the time. Now, do you play off of a sheet, Raoof?
I can.
I don't like that. I can't
for that.
I said you had that. Yeah, I can, but I heard in there. I can, but I'm not. That ain't what I can do it. Yeah, but
well, you know, it depends on what the situation is. Sometimes you may. I'm blessed to be able to be around situations that is required. In other words, you might be playing in a big band, and they're reading sheet music, and that keeps you sharp, you know, because it's cool, and it puts me around like younger guys, and that really do it on a regular basis. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, and to keep you sharp on your playing, that you read, and keep your eyes sharp too. You know what I mean? So I like that. Anyway, even if it don't, you still have to study. You always study as a vocalist. You always study as a musician. You have to always stay sharp on what you're doing, you know.
See, that's what separates the professionals from the amateurs. Amateurs will pretend to do it, and the elite, they know what they're doing. And that's what's important. And the fact that you brought up the young people, because a lot of these young people are extremely talented.
Yes, they are.
And they don't get the opportunity to, you know, be able to hone their craft, because who's going to teach them? Who's going to guide them? Who's going to show them? You know, and this is the difference between a professional and an amateur. A professional makes it look easy, like it just come through your spirit, and you know, it's effortless. They forget about the studying, about the learning, about, you know, what you need to do to keep yourself disciplined. And amateur will say, I could do that. I'm like, go ahead. People would come onto the program with me, and they'll say, "Oh, Mother Love, I want to do a talk show like you." I'm like, "No, you don't. But you make it look so easy." I'm like, "Because I'm a professional. This is what I do for bricks and groceries." So, and they come in, and we 5 days a week, like we do here, 5 days a week. I was doing 2 hours a day. That's 10 hours a week. And they would come in and be like, "Oh, this is so easy. You make it look easy." They can't get one guest for one show. Don't prep for the show. Don't read any, background information. I got to know who I'm talking to. I need to know some background information because you never know what I'm going to ask.
That's
Now,
right.
Does she travel with you?
Who is that now?
Your wife?
No. Well, I'm not married.
Oh, okay. You was hesitating. I was like, okay,
ceremony.
leave that one alone, my love. Let it go. I saw it.
It's about life. I'm close to. I've been married twice, but I'm close to. We're better friends now. I care about them. I had kids they had kids for me, so it's about life. You know what I mean?
Did he just say they had kids for me? I'm glad you said that because some men are y'all is just arrogant. Oh yeah, they're my kids right there. Mm-hmm.
No.
You said and that's precious though. Did you have kids with all three of them?
I had kids with 2 of them.
Okay. Do they get along? Because blended families can be kind of
different. Oh yeah. They respect each other. The wives, they respect each other, and it's about creating an environment that I care about them.
Mm-hmm.
I care about them all because they're a part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to be happy. I want somebody to treat them well.
Mm-hmm.
I can get a phone call for them, and I'll still move. You know what I mean? It's just the only thing that is just another level. It's about life, and I want you to live your best life. I want you to be as happy as you can be, and anything that I can do to help you be there. And I hope you feel the same way about me.
Okay, I don't know if Cynthia told you can't be breaking up the host. To hear that coming from you and understanding like that and saying, I want them to be happy when you see the divorce. And it's so much the viciousness in it, and want to hold your kids hostage over their heads or, do all kind of crazy stuff. To hear you say that coming from your heart, that you care for them, you can't beat that with a stick. And I hope all women who are out there who've been married and divorced and listen to this cat. That was really, really profound. That comes from your heart and your soul. That's why you do what you do. So when you get out there, do you leave it all on the floor? Do you just say this is it, just that day? Oh my goodness. Do you get tired when you're playing? Your lips start hurting?
No. They say that's what I do. It's a way of life. And they actually say, why you do this? I say, well, it's easy for me because when we do this and you love it, you have a passion. It's not work. And then when you get there and you can only get this in several places, and athletes get it. But you only get this when you perform and you got all these people and they're giving you love and you do something that you may not do again because they bring something out. It transcends what you're doing, your heart. In other words, they see your heart. In other words, I can come out after performing and someone can approach me because I just showed them my heart. They can come up and introduce me. So it's not like I don't have to introduce myself, but they see your heart. And when you touch somebody's heart, when you go from your heart, you touch someone else's heart. When you do anything from your heart, it touches someone else.
And that's what we're supposed to do. That's what we're supposed to do. Keep our hearts happy. Because I gotta sign up here in my office say if mother's not happy, ain't nobody gonna be happy.
Yeah, I can see.
I got an apron. I cook every day. I got an apron that says, "Don't make me poison your food."
I love it.
My husband and I, we've been since 1972.
Awesome.
Ain't that something?
That's good. You example.
Oh, the kids told me I was a relic, and then the other kids say, "No, she's a unicorn." Yeah, they said I was a relic. And they were a little girl about 8 or 9. I'm always getting checked by children. See, that's when you said, Alton, that you brought your kids to the event and they just absolutely loved it. We have to be able to embrace our youth and don't, I hate the way when I see celebrities and the way they treat their fans.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, these are the people that paying for your rent. These the reason why you could live in that big mansion, and you want to act up, but you will never see them people again. And then to shut them down like that. I remember I actually did a scene with this really famous actor, right? And I had everybody on the set. We were just cracking up, having a real good time. I'm just, doing my mother love thing in costume. And he came up to me and started shouting at me. I'm like, wait, hold up. You don't even know who you talking to. What you talking? Then I gave him the hand. Talk to the hand. And I kept on talking to the guy I was talking to. He jumped in his car, sped all off because I was screaming. He was screaming at me. I was like, you don't even know what you just did, fool. You don't even know.
Best they don't even talk.
And I was like, wait a minute, why would you eat? You don't even know me. I got 5 lines in the movie that they didn't cut and leave them on the floor. They actually put them in the movie. And the next day, I was only supposed to be there for 5 days. So the next day, I'm there, I'm getting, my costume ready, I'm getting my mark and doing what I got to do. And I see 3 of the executive producers jump off of their seats, and they start walking real fast toward me. And then they start trotting. And I could tell it was coming for me. I'm like, okay, just steady yourself in there. Steady yourself. Now, if they're going to kick you off because of you cussing out that guy, okay, you be prepared for that. But I'm an adult. And you're going to bring this childish stuff in my face. And I'm not going to say, you ain't going to buy. I'm not. Talk to the hand. And they were at a fast try. And these were 3 less melanin ladies. And they came up and I said, okay, what can I do for you? They said, we don't know what you said to him, but we are so glad that he just ran away from you. He bullies us. I'm like, y'all grown ass women. What you talking about? He bullying y'all. So I was like, So I was only supposed to do a week. This was like day 2 into my run. So I had 3 days. They said, if you stay an extra week, we'll pay you X amount of dollars because you're not afraid of him. I said, he better be afraid of me. He better be very, very afraid of me. And if you think I'm crazy, don't make me call my husband. He one of them quiet kind of guys. Everybody think he in the FBI. Don't know. If he had your sunglasses on, they would say, I told you he in the FBI. You watch Mother Love got the FBI protecting her. I was like, and he took my knife from me, so I can't nick anybody anymore. They came and paid me, twice of what my weekly salary was to come there every week and every day make sure I get eye contact with him. He stayed in his hall. I'm like, you ain't gonna talk to people like that. And so many people in this business will not stand up for what they believe and what they do. These are valued artists, and you just because you big time in the movie theater and everything. I told him I ain't even. And this is what got me. This is a guy trying to cuss me out because I had to check him. The executive producer of this $80 million movie called me to apologize. And I was like, what you apologizing for? Well, I'm sorry he was acting that way. I'm like, who acted that way? And he was like, that ain't nothing. Don't even worry yourself. And I'm not accepting an apology from you because you did nothing. You did nothing. You did nothing to me. Then they said, oh, sometimes she can be difficult. No, I just ain't doing stupid stuff. Don't you hate dealing with stupid people? You know they stupid and you got to try to make stupid work.
I'm not going to do it. No, I can't. That's who you are.
Al got this big giant grin on his face because even in your part of the business, they're going to be people that are in the room that think they know more than you do.
Well, that's a given.
We
have people who because they had Sammy Joe play for them one time at a stand-up show for a birthday party, they think that they're now a promoter. But see, and Raoof knows this, because he's been in the business for a few days,
He said a few days. We get 30 days.
The show that you see, the performance that you see is just the tip of the iceberg. It's just like an iceberg out there in the middle of the ocean. You only see the tip of the iceberg. Below the iceberg, there's 20,000 little ducks paddling like hell to keep that tip up there. You know what I'm saying? So with that tip being up there, people don't understand what 4 months before that, all of the action and activities that had to happen to make sure that tip was still standing up there at 6 o'clock when the doors open and the show began. Okay, and that's what they don't see. They don't see everything that goes on behind the scenes. You know, there's not a show that goes on properly that does not go on without, you know, a sound check, you know, without making sure that the back line is here, making sure that all the musicians' instruments are there so they can perform, you know, making sure that the mics are proper, you know, making sure that everything is there, making sure that they got a clean dressing room so they can change into their stage clothes and everything, and make sure that they receive a meal, make sure that they got hotel accommodations, make sure that they get transportation to and from the location and everything. You know, you don't bring artists to town and then say, oh yeah, well, you perform at 6 o'clock, we'll see you then. That ain't how it works. You know what I'm saying? They come to town and you pick them up and you take care of them until they come and perform, and then you take care of them after they perform. You know, that's the way it is. But there's some people out there who don't get it. Yeah. They do not get it. You know, and I
didn't know you wanted me to do that right now.
I'm a firm believer that if you don't have a minimum of 90 days before your concert date, you shouldn't even talk about doing a concert.
And what people don't understand, you need to have connections. And you said 90 days. I say 6 months.
Well, but you understand, I said a minimum.
Minimum. You did say minimum, you know, and that's cutting it real close.
Right. If you're trying to start it at 90 days, you're out of whack.
You're already in the.
You know, like our show is April the 13th. You know, we started lining up the artists back in September of last year.
See,
you know, before I think we signed the contracts and all were signed either in September, early September, mid-September last year for an April date.
Oh, and you know what? And people don't see this, and this is where I think that a lot of them fall down when they're talking about I'm a promoter. They forget about the paperwork. They forget that you got to get contracts with people. They forget that you got to get these documents signed. Sometimes you might have to get them notarized if you got to get an extra insurance policy, you know, and they don't even think about that part. And then they go, oh, I should have did it. They don't even think about getting their name, image, and likeness trademark, even with all, we talked about this before, with the way that the business has changed. And the fact that you guys keep this going pure like it's supposed to be. What is your take on the synthesizers and, you know, fast as the kids, because it seems like they're running so fast because they think their light is going to burn out. Well, it will.
When you say synthesizers,
you know, when they come in and it's not as good as Roger Troutman, but when they come in, he was anyway. God rest his soul. When you see them and they're not. It's not the real instruments. They're playing behind stuff. And then when people, you know, and like you said, Alton, people want to give these concerts a birthday party and tell you now I'm a promoter, and they couldn't even tell you what a promoter does. Well, you'll talk about it on the radio for me, won't you? I'm like, wait, what kind of party are you having? You got to know these things. And see, back in the day, they protected the artist. You know, they made sure that no scandal got out. They made sure that there wasn't headlines in the papers and online. Well, we didn't have online then. And the way that these young musicians put themselves out here on Front Street, it's like, to me, it's like you have no class and you have no respect for what you do. What's your take on it? When they think they could just show up at 6 o'clock before the flight, and there is no sound check.
Well, that's because they don't know.
Yeah,
you know, they honestly and truly do not know. They you know, back in the day, you know, and I'll just go back, you know, way back in the day, you know, Motown had schools and classes, and they taught their people to what to do and what not to do and how to do that. You know, young people nowadays, because of the internet, because of YouTube, because of all of the other things that are out there on the internet, they think that they can self-produce a record, put it on the internet, and because they get 1 million clicks or 1 million hits or whatever it is, they think that they are now a budding artist. Okay? But what they do not understand is the intricacies of the music, you know? you know, there's royalties and there's payments and there's stuff that you have to pay, you know, when you do concerts and festivals. You know, we belong to ASCAP, which is your royalty paying company, you know, where we pay to make sure that the artist gets their royalties, you know, from our show, you know, based on whatever, you know. And there's so many people who don't know that, you know, they don't know. Promoting a show is not opening the door and say, "Come on in, SOS Band, and play for us." You know what I mean? That's the last part of it. That's the easiest part of it. It's the performance.
It's getting
everything that has to go up to that day of the performance and everything. Now, these young folks that are out here nowadays, you know, they don't see that. They don't have any conception of that. And you know, and we so often see on my side of the fence, we so often see where some people's management team is not managing in them. They just have the title of a management team, but the artists themselves are doing all of their bookings and everything, and the management team still wants to get paid for a percentage of what they're doing and everything, you know, and all. But artists, this is Garrett Management Group's philosophy. Artists, in our opinion, artists do one thing, and that's come on stage and perform.
And perform well.
Right. They don't book hotel rooms. They don't get food. They come on stage and they perform. Their job is to come, do a sound check, relax, come out and kick butt. That's what their job is. Their job is not to drive the bus, to drive the car, to pick them up at the airport. That ain't their job.
That is not what they do.
That is not what artists do. Artists perform. That's what they do. And that's what we stress, you know, from Garrett Management Group standpoint. That's what we stress. You're coming to perform for us. You're not coming to be a taxi driver.
Okay. What you say, Raoof?
We're happy we're working with Alton. We're so grateful we're working with you. That is correct. That is correct. And you make it easy for us to do what we have to do, and that's part of our thing. But you know, and sometimes, you know, you run into all kinds of things, and people really, it's just a matter of what type of information they have, how well they're informed. And some of it comes from the culture, you know what I mean? So the culture is, and it's not all the kids, it's the industry, because they're allowed to do what they do. They're allowed to say the things they're saying. They're allowed to take the clothes off.
Could you imagine? This I will always say when I was doing stand-up, even when I'm, you know, giving a presentation, could I say this in front of my mother? Could I say this in front of my pastor and his wife? Would I say this in front of children? And when the answer is no, 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 and notified no, that's not what you do. You got to have a set of standards. And it's like I just said, back in the day, Berry Gordy groomed those audiences. I mean, groomed those performers. And we had to groom the audience too, because remember when people would dress up to come to a concert?
Yeah.
Okay, now they just look like they rolled out the bed, ready to roll, come in looking like a bowl of yakame. When the last time you had your butt washed? You need to don't even come in here. And like you said, the culture has changed so much. And we will be here for 4 hours. Alton, tell them what's going on in North Las Vegas on April 13th.
Thank you, Mother Love. On April 13th, we have the second annual Funk Explosion, and our headliner is none other than the SOS Band, you know, and we also have Lucien featuring Jane Eugene. And as I said before, we always try to do a tribute, you know, and we do a tribute to one of our fallen artists, one of our fallen heroes or sheroes. And this year we're doing a tribute to the great Bobby Womack. And Jimmy Sterling with the Jimmy Sterling Experience is that. And our host and everybody's host, you know, he's the world's host, and that's the Jammin' J. Lamont. You know,
J. Lamont.
Yeah, he's the host on the show for us this year and all, and we're looking forward to a great show, you know. And Raoof, I heard you say something, and I had to snicker a little bit because you went to Albany State, huh?
Yeah.
Well,
and that part. Here we go.
Well, I worked for Habitat for Humanity in Americus, Georgia,
Ah,
for 3 years, and I was in Albany. Albany, as you guys say down there,
Albany.
said, you know,
Yeah,
I was in
you don't
Albany
say
for,
Albany. You ain't from
Women
Albany.
yeah, I was down
Albany.
in Albany often, you know, maybe
Like
2 or 3
Benny.
times a week, you know.
Yeah,
I was down
yeah,
there. So during that time, I kind of knew Albany like the back of my hand, you know. So
yeah.
It's
yeah,
an
But
Albany.
during our young days, we would all these little places. Albany was like the spot.
right.
We in Americas, we played all these little places. They say the chilling circuit, you know,
Yeah.
but it developed you. It developed your character because we played for all types of people. And it was about the music. It wasn't about the people. It was about the music, giving them a good time. We really didn't care. So I'm grateful that that I came up like that way. I'm grateful that we came up in a different time, that we heard all types of music, that even like an average person in school had to take a music appreciation.
See, you
That
had to know.
that kind of opens you up to
I
all types.
was sharing with Alton when we were growing up. Our mother, she was a widow with 6 children at 30. And she would say, you know, music soothes the savage beast. And I'm like, we savage beasts. She would get up earlier than we did on the weekend. And my mother told us, you know, if I have to pop a cap in y'all, you know, because we were all teenagers together. She's like, if I got to pop a cap in one of y'all, I'm going to pop one in all 6 of y'all. So don't even get it twisted. Everybody going to get it. And she carried a loaded 38 pistol with her. And I didn't understand that people weren't trained in gun control and, you know, making sure that the guns were secured. So, you know, we didn't know who we were going to wake up to. It could have been Miles Davis's Bitches Brew, or it could have been Johann Sebastian Bach. You know, you could wake up to the Jimmy Smith, you know, on the organ, and, you know, later on in the day, you hear Wynton Marsalis. And this went on from like 5:30 in the morning to 12 o'clock when we got all our chores done, and I was the first one out the door. And I didn't appreciate it then, but I certainly appreciate it now. And there are artists like you, there are promoters like Alton Greer and the Garrett Management Company that will keep this alive.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for
We're
taking time out of your busy day to
Thank
come
you,
to
Alton.
Alton.
I appreciate you. Thank you so
Well,
much.
We appreciate you,
keep
man.
that.
You know, we looking forward to a great show on the 13th, and you know, future collaborations and everything and all. And you know, my last little plug here, you know, get your tickets at, you know, thefunkexplosion.com. You know, there's a few tickets left and everything. You can go online to our website, and also, and you know, in any media inquiries, anything, you know, go to Cynthia Busby. You know, she takes care of all our media inquiries and sponsorships and vendor information, anything that you might need from her. You know, you can just go right to her and get that information
at Busby Promotions.
And that's the promotions, right? Absolutely.
That's another big gap in the way that young people do business, because they don't understand that you need a publicist, PR person to help you get out there and help you get these interviews. And Cynthia Busby, you know, she know I love her. You know, that's my girl.
Cynthia's been on it. She's on it.
Oh, she's on it, and I'm glad that you were on it with Mother Love today. Remember this, babies.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. Remember this, babies. You can follow me on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and every other media that you plug in and say, where's Mother Love? Mother Love is right here. And I just want you all to remember this. No matter how big or tall, short or small, thick or thin, matters not what skin you're in. Everybody needs some Mother Love now and then. Peace, babies. Enjoy yourself. You like how I say Abdul? You like that? I like that too. Peace, fellas. Thank you all so very much.